Hey everyone, and welcome to week one of our course. So if you look on your syllabus, this is now week one, and this week we're talking about what philosophy is. So in this course, we're going to study philosophy. We're going to do some philosophy. We're going to think about philosophical issues and topics and look at some philosophical arguments. But in order to get a foundation for that, so we can all sort of understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what the goals are here, I want to give us a foundation to talk about what philosophy actually is, which is in itself its own branch of philosophy called metaphilosophy. But that's neither here nor there. You don't have to worry about the word metaphilosophy or any details of that very sort of specialist subtopic in philosophy. What I want to talk about this week is just what philosophy is. So, what is philosophy? Well, that turns out to be kind of hard to define. Many things turn out to be difficult to define once you actually try to define them. In the words of a Supreme Court justice asked about the definition of pornography, I can't give you a definition, but I know it when I see it. That's kind of the way a lot of things are, including philosophy. Giving a clear definition of philosophy is difficult, in part because philosophy is so broad. But I bet you've already thought about philosophy in your life. You've already done some philosophy. So if you've ever wondered whether or not God exists, that's a philosophical issue. If you believe God exists or believe God does not exist, then you have a philosophical view. If you think, or if you don't believe one way or the other whether or not God exists, and you think no one knows for sure, that's also a philosophical view. The claim that no one knows or can know whether or not God exists is a philosophical claim in an area of philosophy called epistemology. It's about knowledge, about what we do or don't know and what we can or can't know. So if you have any view about God at all, atheist, agnostic, theist, doesn't matter, regardless of religion, you have some philosophical views. That's a philosophical topic or a philosophical issue that you've taken a stand on. If you've ever wondered whether or not abortion is morally permissible, whether or not that's okay, that's a philosophical issue. If you've wondered whether or not it should be legal, that's a philosophical issue. That's sort of partway between what's called ethics or moral philosophy, the study of what's right and wrong, and also philosophy of law, about what the purpose of laws are and which laws should or shouldn't be on the books, what should or shouldn't be legal. That's a philosophical question. Law school will tell you what the law is. It won't tell you what the laws should be. For that, we need philosophy. So any arguments you see in politics about what should or shouldn't be legal, what the law should or shouldn't require of us, what punishments should or shouldn't be acceptable in our society, they're all political debates, sure, but they are philosophical issues. And thinking about those issues, thinking about whether or not you support the death penalty, whether or not the death penalty is an okay punishment for a society to enact, that's a philosophical issue. If you've ever thought about it, then you've done some philosophy. And that's what we're going to try to do in this course. Not just talk about the death penalty, but we're going to try to talk about and think about philosophical issues and try to figure out really what the issue is about, what the right answer is, and think about how we find the right answer. Because a lot of philosophical issues can't be answered in the same way that questions like, do electrons exist? Or are there pigeons in the world? Can be answered. You can measure an electron, you can go out and look at a pigeon, but determining whether or not God exists or whether or not it's okay to have the death penalty, that's a lot. It's not clear how you measure that. That's a harder, not harder, because building a machine to measure and find electrons is incredibly difficult and expensive. But that's a different sort of problem. Philosophical issues are often different sorts of problems that require different sorts of solutions and different methods in order to solve them, in order to figure out what's happening. And so if you have already had some interest in philosophy, then hopefully this course will be interesting to you and will give you some additional tools and resources to think about philosophy. But if philosophy has not been interesting to you in the past and you are not particularly excited to be taking philosophy, that's okay too. Hopefully the course doesn't bore you to tears, and at a bare minimum, hopefully it doesn't bore you to tears. But hopefully you can find something that interests you. Maybe you'll be surprised to find out you're interested in it, but hopefully there'll be something in here that interests you. If nothing else, you might see arguments for and against views you already have, and then you can look at sort of your own beliefs in the area in a new way. And maybe you'll change your mind on some things, maybe you won't. But my hope is that at the end of this course, we all have some additional tools and resources to think about philosophical issues, and we all have a sort of better, deeper understanding of how we figure out what the right answers are here. And we can justify our beliefs on these issues and provide arguments for our own views so that we can be a little more prepared for pushback, and so that we can learn to argue about these issues not in like a "I can't believe you think this" kind of way, but in a here are, several substantive reasons for believing this view that support my belief here. That sort of argument and justification for a belief is an excellent, important skill to have, and it's something we're going to try to practice in this course. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about what the different areas of philosophy are, and talk about, in the video after that, about the difference between philosophy and other branches of academic inquiry, like physics and chemistry and sciences and social sciences and history and things like that. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.